And we're back. Welcome to the final round of the GT2 challenge brought to you by New Dimension Racing and provided the stream by simbroadcast.tv on Twitch. And I can tell you right now that this track is like no other in Live for Speed. Kyoto 3 with the Boothy chicane. A tough, undulating track from start to finish. The corners don't do anything other than flow. Even the hairpins are nice and flowing. I am joined today by Thilo Falkenberg. Thilo, how are you today?
Hello, I'm fine, and I must laugh about flowing hairpins.
Well,
But
it's
you're
the final
definitely
one,
right.
isn't it? It's the final one because it goes into a neat little chicane afterwards, so it just flows beautifully. We also have the beautiful Boothy chicane here today, which is another favourite of the drivers. It takes away the silliness of the Live for Speed track design in that particular area. But we will get on to that as we come round later on. You may also hear from today Pete Butcher, who is normally a disembodied voice for us, the commentators. But Pete, I think you'll be doing some of the commentary today. How are you doing today? Are you looking forward to the race?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Good to be on the broadcast for the GT2 Challenge finally. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the season finale. It's been a great season so far. I hope the boys put on a show.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Every round has been very, very interesting from a strategy point of view. If you're unaware, the point of this series is almost that they have to either decide whether they're going to make a pit stop or not. Today, though, from my perspective, and qualifying has begun, by the way, um, and also from my perspective, I think that you will be seeing the XRRs on a soft compound tyre, not pitting. It seems as though the XRR is the car to have here, Tilo.
Yes, it might be the case. And this also has some championship implication as our, favorite, at least for winning this competition, Yannick Ketia is an XRR driver. So he actually has quite an advantage going into this race.
Yes, I was watching Yoni last night, and Yoni managed easily the stint on the softer compound of tyre, the R2 compound of tyre, until I may have come out the pits on my keyboard thinking he was finished and might have spun him, and it caused a puncture. So sorry to Yoni for that. As you say, Yoni is the favourite for the title because our championship leader, Isaac Price, who has won all 3 rounds so far, is currently competing in the 24 Hours of Le Mans on R Factor 2, and we wish him well. I think there's a red flag at the moment, though, so while that is red flag, come and watch us because this is going to be a very interesting race. As you see them coming, snaking around this track, this huge, long, swirling track, of course. It also contains a bit of oval section because the Live for Speed oval, other than Rockingham, of course, but the original Live for Speed Roval is this track. This has the oval section like at the old Indianapolis Formula One track that they currently don't use for the Indy cars, and you will see that leads into the world famous Boothy chicane, as created by a dear friend of ours, Michael Booth, who is no longer a part of the team. So we've given him a nice little tribute for this race, for this final round of the GT2 Challenge. Thank you, Boothy, for the chicane, which will be going into Live for Speed permanently when they update the final track, which will be a massive, massive relief for all the drivers because the normal chicane without the Boothy chicane is a bit of a pain in the arse.
Yeah, though, what is definitely known by the screenshots released is that the geometry of the track there is going to change. We will see how it will affect the racing once it is all released. But so far we can only speculate on how it's flowing from the oval to the Grand Prix circuit in the updated version.
Yes, of course, the long-awaited Live for Speed changes to these tracks, to all the tracks. We've been to Aston, we've been to Blackwood, and we've been to West Hill for this championship, and now the fourth and final round here from Kyoto Grand Prix, along with the Boothy chicane. And always, this track throws up surprises. And it's a difficult one. As we were saying earlier, everything flows beautifully. And to be honest, as soon as you hit a rhythm with this track, there's nothing like it on Live for Speed. The rhythm is such a key point to this track. As soon as you hit the zone, it's very difficult to come out of it, it feels like, unless you hit traffic, which can be a pain in the arse if you have a GT1, GT2 class.
And to give you a feeling on how flowy this track is, most of the corners actually have cornering speeds from 165 kilometers per hour to 205 kph. So these are not slow corners unless you look to the turn 4 section, which is a major braking zone after the turn 1-2 chicane, or the Boothy chicane, or the final hairpin. Everything else is quite fast.
Yes, including the infamous turn 9, 10 and 11 section. Turn 9, a fast right-hander that narrows on the exit, so it's very difficult to get that one right. And that is the point. I think we may get a safety car today, because sometimes if you clip the inside curb, you do roll over. And that's probably the most likely position we will get a safety car before the infamous 180-degree left-hander, which kills your tyres and makes it very, very difficult to maintain the tyres when you're on a softer compound. One slight movement and one slight slide in the tyres, especially if you're using the softer compound, which I think most of the drivers will be doing today, it can really ruin your race if you get that wrong even once. It's a notoriously difficult corner. And it's a spectacular corner to watch, and it's a spectacular corner to drive. But that's not what you want if you're trying to baby your tyres into lasting the full 32 laps for this race today. As we watch the qualifying session, the first few laps are on the board. Petrovichus has done a 2 minutes 21.75 to be the first man across the line to take provisional pole position at the moment.
Further times are slowly appearing on the chart.
We should, I think, mention the return of the former Masters of Endurance administrator, one of the main people who put together Core Racing back in the day, which is now known as Core Sim Sports. Ben Keogh is joining us today in the XRR. I think it's the first time that Ben has driven a league race in many, many years. He's been doing a set of Corsa of late and decided to jump in to have a go at this final track in his beloved XRR car. So it'll be very interesting to see how Ben does today. Here he is in the Core XRR car. A throwback to, I think it's, did he say it was IGTC 2010 skin earlier?
Yeah, I think so. So it's quite some time that we haven't seen this skin. I mean, the other core racing drivers in this field are also using the older core racing skins, which is already a throwback, but Ben's skin is a special one.
Yeah, it's a beautiful skin. You could really see that was the point where Live for Speed skinning started to take off. That's around about the point where Gardner was obviously still on board, and I think would this have been Christian Kistner designed skin potentially? I think that's possibly correct. He always did some nice skins. And we are going on board with our current pole position man, Petrovichus.
So the driver for Last Lap Motorsports crosses the line now to start his flying lap. He is now going to enter the T1, T2 chicane with about 170 kilometers per hour, fourth gear corner, cutting the grass a little bit, then it's full throttle down to the next braking zone for turn 4.
Yes, that turn one chicane. If you get the first part right, you can almost straight line the second. It's very interesting. They use a little bit of curb on the entry down into this turn number 4, which tightens as it exits again. And
and
there we
runs
go.
wide.
And that is the end of that lap. Joe Holmes, I'm watching. Oh, Joe Holmes has pitted as well, unfortunately. That would have been a good one to see where he went. He's currently not done a lap yet. So, Joe, with half of this session done, Joe Holmes, who probably is one of the favourites given his previous at this track in the XRR for this race, currently not set a lap time. So, he'll be hoping to get a banker in at some point. I'm surprised he didn't actually finish that lap, given he was in the final corner. We're watching Mackie Home as he comes into turn number 1 and turn number 2. He'll just kiss the grass on the left-hand side there on the curb on the exit, down through the flat-out turn number 3, and back to where the previous lap we were on board with failed in turn number 4. Mackie Home currently second on the grid at the moment.
So braking now for turn 4, 120 kph, third gear, and now it's accelerating into the flowing S's, a bit like in Suzuka. Going up the hill now, about 107 kph cornering speeds, now into the bigger radii corners.
Yeah, we're coming up to this fearsome section, Thilo.
Yeah, that corner, as we used to call it in GTAL. Braking for it, 210 kph, fifth gear, and now down into this long left-hander, that spoon-like corner. Over the crest into a little dip and onto the oval section. Personally, it's always a bit difficult to find the right racing line as there are not many points of reference. Then we are approaching the famous Boothy chicane, turn 13 and 14, 110 kph, second gear corner. And now into that flowing hairpin, as you've called it earlier. Braking hard, 90 kph, second gear through this chicane, wide open, keeping the throttle down, and now he's braking and aborting his lap.
Well, we'll get a full lap in at some point, I assume. But you did basically see the whole lap there with Thilo and with Mackie Homler, who has dropped from second position while he was doing that lap. Tia has put himself onto the front row of the grid alongside Petrovicius, and Thilo, do you have handy what he needs to do to secure the championship with Isaac Price's absence?
So for Yanni, it's quite simple. Be better than 6th place. 6th or better, to be precise. So top 6 finish, top 5 finish, and he'll be the GT2 Challenge champion.
Yes, and I'm sure he will hope to win the race. He's been very unlucky at points this season. He's had the pace throughout the season, and he's had the pace to win races, but it just hasn't quite happened for him. He's often gone for a difficult strategy to pull off. He's finished on the podium every round, 2 seconds and a 3rd position. At the last race at Aston North, and Joe Holmes is still struggling to set a banker lap. He's 7 minutes now. So he will actually need to do this next lap, to be honest. I think that has to be a conservative lap to get him a grid time, because at the moment he has only 23 of the drivers have completed a lap. So some people out there are having issues with this difficult track to do a lap time and to complete it. Some of these corners suck you in massively into making errors. They tighten, they widen in strange positions, and it's difficult with despite the fact there's a curb or a decent amount of curbing around the track, it's sometimes difficult. You get sucked in to the exit of the corners, and it's very simple to make an error that will ruin your lap in this 20-minute qualifying session, which has 7 minutes to go exactly.
But it's not only the nature of the track, it's also when you hit the next car. Well, definitely not hitting it, but sometimes the loss of downforce really compromises your line through the corners and can cause for a lot of trouble, especially in a qualifying session where you really want to nail that lap time. We're now seeing the intervals between the drivers. And as you can see, we've got P2 and 3 with the identical time.
We've had a lot of that this season.
Sorry?
We've had a lot of that this season where people do identical lap times. So you could forget that West Hill period during qualifying where we're going to have 3 pole position drivers all having the same time. And again, it's a very competitive field, half a second covering the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. As we're following the 09 car of Leibniz for core racing. Currently 4th position for him, one of only 4 drivers under the 2:22 mark. He's now passing Michael Malek before that corner.
Yes, of course, that corner is where we had the big massive GTAL crash about a decade ago, isn't it? Where Tommy Osgard, who I believe is doing the 24-hour race as well today, flew like Santa Claus in his reindeer, and I think it was at Christmas time, that race as well. So that became a bit of an entertaining meme. I think that must be one of the first red flags we'd ever had in a New Dimension Racing series, as every single one of the cars, I think, actually were involved in the incident and the crash. So hopefully we don't have a repeat of that today. We are having some slight technical issues with some of the people on the server. Hopefully nothing to worry about for the race.
As somehow the internet seems to be a bit interesting, let's say it that way. Next now through the last chicane. Decent split times. Let's see if he can improve. 2:21.75 to beat.
21.94.
But Yanni Katia, our P2 from the championship standings, is now in P1 for this session for the remaining 3 minutes 40 seconds. He's the man to beat.
I think it is worth noting Yanni Katia's skin at the moment. It's a very fetching skin or something with the adorning face of Isaac Price on the sides, unfortunately. So we do apologise to everybody out there who are of a nervous disposition when they see that face. But there's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. It's there, and it's going to be there for the race, so get used to it, unfortunately. You may also remember that Isaac did it back to Yanni did it first to Yanni for the previous round of one of the other series that Sim Broadcasts streamed. So you got to see Yanni's face, and now you get to see Isaac's. And well, less that we see of that car today, the better.
So I think you're wishing for a boring race where Katia runs away with the win and the championship, so we don't have to show him that often.
I cannot get over the fact that he might win a championship with Isaac's face on the doors. It just doesn't, yeah. Especially the professional photo that he has used from Williams Esports' website. It's yes, something. Oh, Joe Holmes, aha, he's finally got a lap in. He's gone straight to pole position with a 2 minutes 21.68. I did think Joe would be fast here. He has won here in the past with the XR in the GT2 class in the Masters of Endurance 2010-2011 season. Effectively, he won that race on his own. I wouldn't say that to him. Don't listen to the broadcast, please, Joe, but he did. He beat myself and Isaac that day, which was sad. We did have about 16 punctures, though, because we had including I managed to get 2 punctures on the rear on the oval. That was a spectacular moment for even myself.
Oh dear.
I blame Chris Wilkinson, our former commentary buddy, who managed a grand total of I think 13 laps in his stint, and Isaac and I were playing catch up, which was terrific. Just waiting in the R2 setup. Johnny Katia is coming up to do his last lap time. He is just 4 thousandths of a second behind Joe Holmes at the moment. Here he comes across the line with that amazing skin. Okay, there's a bit of traffic ahead though. Will that come into play in sector number 2? I don't know if he's quite got enough of a gap to make the lap properly. He cuts that second corner nicely.
The car ahead is the one of Pedro Picanco. Is currently in 12th position, but just half a second slower than the sharp end of the grid. So I think he might get away with the gap they have. Oh, well, that's an anticlimax. When the final seconds of the qualifying session.
Nico Pantola in the Mer Racing car is coming around the final corner at the moment. Is he on a better lap? I don't think he is. Judging from his strange line down the straight, he's not cutting course as you normally do. Pantola does a 2:22.70 to remain in 11th position. In fact, he might actually be running a race setup.
We're seeing Borislav Botev in the 46 Fast and Crazy Sim Sports cars. Well, as he cuts the Boothy chicane. So that's P5 for him, probably. Babniak's now coming round the oval corner into the Boothy chicane. He's currently 0.23 off the pole position. Top 20 cars are separated by 2 seconds on such a long lap time.
I think the last car over the line will be Mackie Holmwell. I think he was the last one to get it. He's currently coming into the oval section as Leibniz crosses the line.
222.11. So that stays P6 for him.
Here's Mackie Holmwell into the Boothy chicane using the new concreted sort of slip road on the inside to great effect there. He comes into flowing hairpin, as I think we'll now call it, to complete his lap. Can he get the power on correctly out of this hairpin before the difficult chicane section? Bit of oversteer as per usual, and uses the oversteer to glide the car in, but didn't look that convincingly fast. Mackie Holmwell currently 4th position. Just over a tenth away from pole position. His second split is pretty good. Has that cost him a chance at pole position? Here he comes across the line, the final man. It's a 2 minutes 21.70, and he goes second behind Joe Holmes and demotes Katia to the second row of the grid. He did just lose out in that flowing hairpin.
But look at the gaps at the sharp end. Holmes to Mackie Holman, 2 100th. Another 2 100th to Yanni Katia, then 3 100th to Ricardas Petrovicius. This is promising.
I think the fact that 3/10 oh, sorry, I was going to say that 3/10 of a second covered the top 8. That's ridiculous. Pete?
Yeah, that was a heck of a qualifying session. As Thilo mentioned, really, really close at the top end. Looks like we're going to have a heck of a showdown with the top 7 or top 8 within, well, 0.3 of a second. Amazing.
So Joe Holmes is on pole position, 2:21.68. He's followed by Matthias Mackie Holmaner for Virus. Third position, World Class Lions, Yannick Attia. Then Ricardas Petravicius for Last Step Motorsports. Borislav Botev for Fast and Crazy Sim Sports. Andreas Leitnieks for Core Racing. Prejemak Vodoriats for Conquest Racing. Fernando Igor and Victor Veloso for Energy Virtual Racing. 10th position, Sean Lee for Newsroom Aerotech. 11th position, Mare Racing's Nico Pontola, followed by Pedro Picanco, Kaiki Piroppo, Pedro Santos, Patrick Hall, Jared Mead, Ben Kyo in 17th, Martinez in 18th, Michael Malek in 19th, 20th for Frankie Sinchetti. He is followed by Jacob Jeffin, Jürgen Weber, then LeBlanc, Martin, Balla, Magic, and Zanella in 27th position.
Yes, so we will be back very, very soon with the final round of GT2 Challenge 2020. We hope to see you in a minute. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Kyoto, and we're currently on a short delay. Things are seemingly taking a bit longer. So, right here out of the booth, me, Thilo Falkenberg, and with me, Chris Ford. A little rundown through the qualifying order. Joe Holmes on pole position in front of Matthias Mackie Heumler for Team Virus. Third position, Yannick Katia, World Class Lions. Fourth, Ricardas Petrovicius for Last Lap Motorsports. Fifth, Borislav Botev, Fast and Crazy Sim Sports. Then Andreas Leibniaks for Core Racing. Przemek Wydoriac for Conquest Racing. Fernando Igor and Victor Veloso for Energy Virtual Racing. 10th position for Sean Lee, Aerotech Newsroom. 11th position, Nico Pontola, Mel Racing. 12th, Petro Picanco for Roda Presa Racing, followed by Kaiki Piroppo for Energy Virtual Racing. 14th, Pedro Santos for Core Racing. Patrick Hall, Race Green Autosports, followed by Jared Mead for Angry Angus Racing. 17th, Ben Kyo for Core Racing. Pedro Martinez for Team America. Then it's Mike Malek and Frank Cincetti for Team Rock Racing. Jeff and Jacob for Race Green Autosports. Jürgen Weber for Heroes of Racing. Greg LeBlanc for Angry Angus Racing. Stephen Martin in 24th position for SM Racing. 25th position, Daniel Balla, followed by his teammate Maciej Klimczyk for Race Green Autosports. And in 27th and last position, Jeremiah Zanella in the XRR. Also on the grid is going to be Core Racing's Andre Arayu, starting from pit lane. So yeah, we are waiting here until things get underway. What are your thoughts about the season so far, Chris?
This season has been highly interesting. I think every single race, and hopefully we'll get that again today. It's been, I mean, I don't think we've known who's going to win the race into the last 10 laps yet. There's been nobody who's just driven off into the sunset, as you were, because we've had a variety of strategies. I know that Isaac Price has won every round, but none of them have been simple. They've each had their own differences. Who can forget the final lap at West Hill, where after Joe Holmes had been so far in front, that's probably the only time we have had somebody driving off into the distance, actually. And unfortunately, due to an incident with a back marker, he didn't get the reward he probably deserved that day. And also after that, the puncture as a result of that incident occurred. And quite frankly, today I expect more of the same. Will we have cars? If there's a safety car, then there will be issues surrounding tyres and whether people can get the softer compound tyre to go to the end. The FSR I don't think can manage to do that. I think the XR can. So it'll be very, very fascinating to see who is on what compound tyres, who is quicker at the start, because that's going to be all key, and also who can survive the lap one, because with everybody being so close together on the grid, this track has a tendency to spit you out in the draft, as you were talking about earlier, Teal, and it's very difficult to follow. So lap one is going to be key here for everybody.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So far, every race has been won by Isaac Price, who is currently in Le Mans.
He is here in graphical form. We must point out again that he is here on Yoni Katia's skin and all his resplendent beauty, or whatever.
Okay, great. So you were earlier talking about Yannick Katia being the one with some tough luck throughout the season. I guess you're right referring to the finishing order, but I think the one with the most tough luck so far was Joe Holmes, because in the first two rounds he showed promising speeds and couldn't capitalize on it, especially in West Hill due to the backmarker incident.
Yes, and if who can forget, I think Joe getting very, very frustrated with life at the previous round at Aston North, where he had a very interesting incident into the tight hairpin where he dived after being punted off himself. So, yeah, I fully agree with you there. Yanni has been unlucky not to win races, but so has Joe. Joe's had you don't expect anything other than that from Joe Holmes. He is a competitive man. He is still a highline driver, and it's been great to see him back in the for speed as well, especially running the first racing skin, which is another throwback. We seem to be doing quite a lot of throwbacks in this series in terms of skins: the core skin, the first skin, and of course the Nyan Cat Mare racing skin, which 2011 meme, 2011 game, and all that. It's yeah, there we go. But we will take another quite quick, short break, I think, before the race begins. We've gone through the order, and now we believe they're about to start gridding up. So we will be back very, very shortly with the 32 laps from Kyoto Grand Prix Boothy. See you in a minute. And we're back, finally, at the final round for GT2 Challenge for 2020. I'm Chris Ford. I'm joined by Thilo Falkenberg, and Pete Butcher will be dropping in as well at various different points during this race with information and things like that. The cars are on their formation lap. This is going to be a long formation lap. It's a 2.5 minute long track at full tilt speed in qualifying. And Joe Holmes has the pole position, as we discussed earlier on, and he follows Stuart Baker, our safety car driver for today, around the first section of this track. And it's going to be a very interesting race, I think, Thilo. I think that looking at the tyre combinations, most are going with the soft compound and hoping that there's no safety cars and they will get to the end of the race without stopping. So that'll be very interesting.
Yes, indeed. In fact, if you look through the grid, the only R3 tires, at least in the top half, you find on the FZRs. And even there, they are only used on the rear axis.
Yeah, with that, I think every single XR car has gone R2R2 going down the field at the moment. So it'd be interesting to see who stops and who doesn't. There is a risk factor, obviously, by not stopping and trying to get the full 32 laps in on one set of tyres. As I said earlier, I watched Yoni Katia be able to do it, so he will be hoping to secure the championship without a puncture today. But do you risk it if you have? If you're going to win the championship, or if you're in the top 6 position, do you risk it, Thilo? That's going to be the interesting thing, I think, for Yoni, because he doesn't need to win this race.
Yeah, he does not. However, winning the championship with a race win is much more sweeter, especially since he was so close to race wins in West Hill and round 1 in Blackwood. I think, he wants to get the victory as well with the title.
Yep, and as we see now, out the back of Stuart Baker's FZ5 safety car at Joe Holmes, weaving about in the final section now on the oval section as we come around to the final section and the start of this race. When will the green flag drop? Who can get a good jump on this start? Because you probably do desperately want to be leading into the sweeping section so you don't lose too much time in the draft of the other cars. As Joe Holmes brings them round, Stuart Baker accelerates away and leaves the field to it as we await the start of this race. Everybody comes through the fabled Boothy chicane down toward Flowing Hairpin. It's going to be a long drag into turn number 1, and it's a tightening corner, turn number 1. Very easy to get it wrong at the start of a race. Will we have any incidents down into the first corner? They were remarkably well behaved at Aston North. And now Joe Holmes takes them round the final complex of corners. Mackie Homeland needs to close up a little bit so he can go side by side at the start. He does close up a little bit more. Yoni Katia there, third on the grid. The championship favourite just needs to finish in the top 6. He draws alongside Mackie Homeland, who needs to get a bit closer to Joe Holmes here. Mackie Homeland really needs to be alongside Holmes. He's left way too much of a gap. In fact, Katia is slightly ahead of him as they come to the line. Mackie Homeland needs to close up. He now does so, and we await the start of this race. When will the green flag be given? There's the green flag. Great start by Joe Holmes. Mackie Homeland not responding very well to the green flag. He's been overtaken by both Katia and another car there and drops down to 4th position. Holmes leads into the first corner. Mackie Homeland up the back of Yoni Katia into turn number 1.
Oh, big crash.
We have a crash.
Igor hits his teammate, Victor Veloso. Somehow everyone else got around it.
So there was a crash there as Katia goes for second position at the front. So there was a crash there. Unfortunate there for Veloso, who drops down to the back of the field. I think he's escaped major damage. There's a there's a big chunk out the rear of his car, but mechanically and drivability, I don't think there's going to be too much wrong with that car.
But look at the 6th position. There's already Nico Pantola, who started in 10th, so he had a great start.
Again, Nico Pantola does that quite regularly in the series. He qualifies badly, and then all of a sudden, with his beautiful sidewinder wheel for this race, because he has broken his normal wheel.
Car's
and there's
off.
a car off at the turn 9.
Fernando Igor.
Oh, and a rejoin
back
right in the middle of
rejoin.
the track. And Igor joins Igor retires from the race. That was
Yeah,
a
but
bad
not
start
without
for
taking
Igor.
out Frankie. Frankie Sinchetti now into 27th position.
Yeah, he had absolutely nowhere to go there as Igor came back on the track. He
So
had
that
absolutely
corner
nowhere
is
to
again.
go.
That corner is again claiming some innocent souls.
Yep, not quite as spectacular as GTL in 2010, where Tommy Escort took off like Santa's sleigh. But as we come to the end of the first lap, Katia's under pressure from Maki Homola in the battle for third position, with Pantola right there as well. And Botev is still right there as well. So Katia, it's not going smoothly for him at this stage of the race. He has cars right on his back, trying to overtake him. He would love just to have a nice cruise to the finish with his beautiful skin there. As Maki Homola drafts past him on the run to the line, so Katia is going to drop back to 4th position in this shuffle.
And as you're talking about the skins, the virus skin is also something which you can regard as throwback these days, as the virus driver takes 3rd place.
And we're on board now with Nico Pantola as he tries to overtake Katia as well. So we have a fast start by Nico Pantola, touching the back of Katia there. That's I wouldn't like there to be an issue with lag there with Nico and Ioni, but it appears as though it's all gone fine. Katia maintains the position ahead of Pantola, so it seems as though maybe Nico is helping Ioni slightly there and defending his 4th position. Pantola all the way up to 5th now. It's some start there for the Mare Racing man. And today, I just noticed his number plate today. Thilo, would you like to look at Nico's number plate? You might remember at the last round, he had a special one for me. I believe that you are the recipient today, as Botev is all over the back of him now, down at turn number 9. This would be an incredibly brave maneuver
contact.
around the outside. Bit of contact, more
contact.
contact. Botev makes the pass stick. Pantola
Yeah, but he runs
want to let him through.
That was narrow.
Very, extremely narrow. A brave move from Botev. Pantola in the end had to give up the position because there was no way he was going to be able to hold it. Botev on the back of... Yeah, he's on the back of Katia all of a sudden. It's like, I wonder if Botev maybe, judging from pace, I know that Ioni Katia is planning to go without a stop, but I wonder if Botev is potentially thinking about a stop because he seems extremely fast at this point.
Going now to the right, the outside for Boothy chicane, but he passes Ioni completely in the approach to the heartbreaking zone. And Ioni not with the cleanest chicane, which gives Nico, well, at least the opportunity to attack on the start-finish straight.
Yes, it's very interesting to see Katia going backwards at the moment. I wonder if he will eventually find the pace that we know he has as our championship favourite at the moment. He's in 5th, he needs 6th, remember? That's the key position for Ioni Katia. He needs to finish in the top 6 to beat Isaac Price in the championship, who is of course not here today, other than on Ioni's beautiful skin. Joe Holmes at the front does the fastest lap of the race. He is building a gap at the moment over the rest of the field. This feels a little bit like West Hill all over again at the moment for Joe Holmes. He clearly has some very, very fast pace.
One thing to keep in mind that P6 scenario was in case all title contenders were present at the round. So Lagutskas not here today racing with us. Stalo not here with us. So it's only Matthias Mackie Holmler with a title opportunity.
Yes, and he's currently in third position at the moment, having qualified on the front row of the group with that nice virus skin as you discussed earlier. And there's side-by-side action to turn 9. Again, with Picanco going down the inside of Kaiki Piroppo in that corner there, and that's created a little bit of a shuffle back on the rest of the field. Santos now we're on board with.
Santos to the inside of Mead, passing the Canadian in the spoon corner. And now he's at the bumper of the Brazilian.
Will Mead make it 3 wide? He thinks better of it at the moment. He's going to try and follow Santos through into the chicane, though. Will Mead go down the inside, or will he think better of it? Piroppo is the latest on the brakes. Mead with a tank slapper into the corner, somehow holds it. He does clip the tyres, though, and I think he's lost position. Yes, he has, to Petrovicius, who's coming. You might wonder why he's back there, having qualified so well. He got a penalty for late confirmation, so he's on a bit of a comeback trail at the moment. Mead, at the moment, is on a comeback trail as well, trying to go down the inside, but thinks better of it. So Mead loses out there, having looked as though he was going to gain a couple of positions. And look who's right behind them in the 14th position at the moment. It's our old friend Ben Pugh in the orange core car. As Mead thinks about getting a run out of the final corner, and he has got a good run. I think he's going to slingshot past the last lap motorsports car, who defends aggressively by using all the track there. Mead still alongside. He's going to have to go down the inside into turn number 1 in the braking zone. Difficult place to make it stick, and he thinks better of it and settles for 13th position at the moment.
Jared Mead, who was a little bit surprised by my commentary last round because I pronounced his team name right.
Would you like to do it again
attack.
right now?
Now under attack by Ben Kyo. Pardon, what did you say?
I said, would you like to say his team again there?
Angry Angus Racing, it's the name.
Angry
it always
Agnes,
takes a bit of concentration. His number plate actually says Agnes.
Brilliant. It's a Simpsons reference there, of course. Principal Skinner's mother, Agnes. And Q has made it round Mead now in the Angry Angus Racing, not Agnes. I almost said it actually there. That would have been embarrassing.
Petrovicius now to the inside of Kaiki Piroppo, and he takes 11th position.
Yes, the comeback trail there, having obviously qualified. Would he have been on the front row? I think he would have. He got a 10th place penalty. It was 4th,
he would have
so he got a 10th place penalty. Mead makes it round Kyo into the oval section, well past actually. That's quite a distance there. As Piroppo makes a small error into the chicane, actually quite a big lock-up as he goes into the fabled Boothy chicane.
Well, this curbing makes it a lot jumpier, it seems. As Petrovicius is now being under attack by Kaiki Piroppo again.
It appears as though the XRRs have a significant horsepower advantage, because look at how much he has taken out of Piroppo on the straight there, Thilo. Maybe there's a wing element to that as well. Maybe Piroppo set up for the twistier section 2. That seems like an awful advantage for the XRRs today.
Well, they also have the advantage to be able to use the softer tire compound on the rear axle. The FZR has to use the R3 tire on the rears due to temperature issues.
Yes, unfortunately, the FZR certainly cannot manage 32 laps around here with the softer compound tyre, which means that every FZR driver is running a softer front and a harder rear in an effort to make it through the 32 laps. We are on lap 5, so we're very, very quickly approaching the first third of the race being done. We're on board here with Pedro Picanco. As he has a go at Lee, yes.
Side by
Inside,
side.
inside into this corner is not going to work, and Picanco knows. Good move that, I think, Pedro.
Oh, Lee
Oh, and
runs
Lee
wide.
runs wide. He's going to hit the wall. And into the wall goes poor old Sean Lee there. He just got it wrong. That's what we were saying earlier. The corner narrows, even though it's got massive sort of curbing on the outside. It's so easy just to clip the grass, and then there's nothing you can do. There's only one place you're heading, and that is into that outside wall. A very unfortunate incident there for Lee, who drops back to battle now with Ben Keogh, who's coming down the inside. And Keogh takes the 12th position away from Lee. So that's a frustrating couple of corners there for Sean Lee.
But this shows you how fast things can change around this track. He was the pressure, but he definitely had all the room. Oh, someone goes wide there. That's Kaiki Piroppo.
Yes, Piroppo goes straight over the chicane. Can I tell you a story? Well, Mead comes down the inside now with Piroppo, so a couple of positions there lost for Piroppo. And his damage, where's he picked the damage up from? I think I saw, actually, while I was on board with Lee, tyres going in the, yes, and Lee and Piroppo go into the pit. I think Piroppo certainly got his damage by hitting the tyres in the final chicane, in the Boothy chicane. As we look here at our race leader, Joe Holmes, who's just on another fastest lap of the race as we head on to lap number 6. I was going to say, at that Boothy chicane, once upon a time in the years when I could drive, during the Masters of Endurance race here, I was protested for going across that chicane with 2 punctures. For cutting the chicane. A team protested me that was about 4 laps behind us. Very interesting behaviour.
Yeah, it's always interesting what kind of protests are handed in, especially once the stakes are so high. Masters of Endurance was the pinnacle of sim racing at the time, one must attest.
Yes, especially with its endurance formatting. It was a 6-hour series, and nominally there were a 12-hour race here at Kyoto and a 24-hour race like they're doing today at Le Mans, but that was at Aston Grand Prix. And let me tell you, 24-hour races are very, very tiring.
Indeed, especially if the communication with your teammates is not that coordinated.
Yes, shout out to Isaac Price's mum, who I got to speak to during the 24-hour race in 2011.
Well, I had once the unfortunate experience in a 16-hour race that my teammate would not show up and I would be forced to do a quadruple stint.
Yes, it's not much fun when your teammate doesn't show up, is it? It's a challenge. That is certainly one of the things that were entertaining back in the day of doing these things, was trying to get a stable team. And we're looking at the only FXR in the race, the big, massive bus 4-wheel drive GTR car. Weber is the only
Heroes
man.
of Racing.
Heroes of Racing. That's I knew it was racing. Heroes of Racing. Weber, you're the only FXR in the race. Not a popular car. This one in GT2.
It actually is one of 2 FXRs. Jeff and Jacob in the 78 race Green Autosports machine is also driving an FXR.
So he is. Oh well, then there's 2. They have clearly bred since the final round that we had at Aston North, where there was only 1. Good to see a bit more variety, even if it definitely is not the car to have here.
But it's really a strong showing that Jürgen is up in 13th position. He is a very reliable driver, and he won the Open Endurance Cup a couple of years ago.
I approve of the Erdinger skin as well.
Yes, it is. The rolling beer can from Erding.
Weber is now battling Patrick Hall, who made a mistake in turn number 4. Side by side they were through the sweepers there. He's in the draft. Is he going to go around the outside into turn number 9? That would be incredibly brave. Will this work? Hall backs out. Hall thinks there's no point in trying to go side by side with a big, massive FXR through there. The FXR can just power through. Oh no, all I'm going to lose is my suspension parts. So Weber now up into 12th position in the FXR.
Yeah, Patrick Hall in the orange race green car. It's still off-putting to me, although I've seen it for now a couple of months, how colorful race green Autosport is. But somehow from the name I expect green cars. Speaking of cars that are not in the color I expect then, Borislav Botev is currently in 4th position, slowly closing the gap to Matthias Mackie-Hellmuller. And usually the Fast and Crazy Simpsons cars were not purple, but green.
This reminds me very much of the 1990s Nissan Primera in BTCC. I could see David Leslie driving that car every time I see it, especially with the Vodafone on the back, just like the Nissan had. Another person who's trying to make moves at the moment is Nico Pantola in 6th position. Again, he's had a strong start to this race. After a midfield qualifying position, he's on the back of Katia. Katia has upped the pace. He's, of course, Pete would like us to point out that Nico is driving with a very special wheel for this race, the good old Sidewinder. I am amazed that those things still exist, and I'm amazed that Nico Pantola can go this quickly using what is essentially a toy wheel.
Well, it's sometimes not about the hardware, but how you can use it.
I wondered where you were going with that for a second there, but that's fine. It's interesting because I think it's made Nico more consistent, which, I just like to bully Nico for his, so that's just what we're doing there. Pro Nico. I wonder if he's often had good race-based Thilo during these races, but things tend to go wrong for him during the races, and often he makes contact with other cars, so hopefully in this race he will finally get the result that he actually deserves. He is trying to steal the team's championship for Mare Racing in this race, and of course the other 2 cars, one me, which I haven't done a race but we'll ignore that, and the other one obviously Isaac Price. So he's the only representative from Mare Racing to be racing today, trying to wrap up the team's championship.
Yeah, if you're speaking about his race results, oftentimes at the end of the race we were summarizing his race as being the most Nico-like race that has been. And then he topped it the next round. Let's see if this time it's really a deserving top 10 finish at least. Probably he has the pace to do a top 5, depending on what happens throughout this race, of course.
Indeed, we are approaching the first third of this race already being complete. We're on lap number 9. Joe Holmes continues to lead and continues to pull away from the rest of the field. It feels, again, as I said earlier, a bit like Westhill today for Joe. He is quite clearly has a march on the rest of the competitors out there today, and hopefully for his sake, everything will hold together a little bit better than it did at Westhill.
Interestingly, if you look at how the field is split, you have a distinct cut between P11 and P12. So Ben Q in his retro core racing skin is the slowest of the fast group, so to speak.
That's very complimentary to Ben there.
And it looks like it goes down south for Patrick Hall, who lost another position to Araggio in the white 92 car. So he's down in 14th now.
Yes, I think that we have another of one of our previous safety car drivers is running today, Stephen Martin. I think that he was hoping he would be the only plain white car in this race. It would give him an identity. But no, there's a second one, Steve. Unlucky. That's unfortunate for you.
Yeah, especially since in the last couple of rounds, Atria Stado was running an all-white car as well.
Very good point. I forgot about that. So, Steve, it wasn't unique. Sorry, mate.
So Atu was in 4th position going into this round, tied on points with Matthias Mäki-Holmele. Both of them need to outscore Yanni by 35 points as Jeff and Jacob is overtaking Stephen Martin. So what I wanted to say is that Matthias Mäki-Holmele needs to outscore Yannick Katia by 35 points to still win the title. But this is going to be a demanding task, especially since Borislav Botev is now closing up the gap quite significantly.
Yes, Botev looking as though he has his eyes set on the prize of 3rd position. He's another one who's got good pace throughout this season that just never quite come together with the results. So maybe today is his chance at almost a redemption arc for the final round of GT2 Challenge. This is the final round of the 4-race calendar. We believe that this series will return toward the end of the year, maybe with a slightly advanced calendar. Pete, I believe that this is maybe something for you. Are you potentially looking into doing some kind of questionnaire? I was hearing about what you want to see within Live for Speed and what New Dimension Racing and Sim Broadcast do. Is that something you maybe wish to discuss?
Oh, I mean, I can mention it. The New Dimension Racing team seeing a bit like a new lease of life really recently, and we're going to put together a survey and get that out to the community and see what people want from series and from the broadcasts and things like that going forward.
So yes, we will be returning at various different points during the 2020 year. Of course, everybody, we hope, is staying safe during this rather odd period of our lives. It certainly has been a good one for sim racing. I think that this has brought out a new side to most of the sims out there, and I think it's been very encouraging to see the level of commitment for most, maybe not Simon Pagino, to see how they've done. And I think, joking aside, I think it's been wonderful to see so much entertainment caused by Live for Speed, by sim racing in general, as Joe Holmes now does go over the 1/3 mark of this race. It's been a very quick race so far. It feels as though we've only just started. Maybe that's because we had such a long period of waiting between qualifying and the race. Would you apologise for that once again? But here we are. Here's the action on this beautiful, beautiful track.
Well,
Pedro
that,
Picanco. Oh, sorry, carry on.
I wanted to say, seeing that there are core SimSports members in the chat, the core racing drivers are currently performing very strongly. Their team effort currently is 2nd placed with Leibniz, then P8 with Santos, and P11 with Ben Kyo, all driving skins from different eras of the core racing team, which later became the core SimSports that is currently active, core sim racing that's currently active in the iRacing scene.
Yes, I was just about to say that there's another returnee. Pedro Santos is currently on the back of Pedro Picanco. Battle to see who is the fastest Pedro out there just now. Over 7th position. They're coming into the oval section at the moment. And that's our closest battle at the moment. Santos has been closing in rapidly on this sort of leading group. This is almost Joe Holmes is out on his own, and then the remaining 7 in that group are very close together. It's been fascinating again to see how close everybody is in terms of pure lap time in this race. That's been a feature throughout the series as Picanco makes a slight error and Santos is getting ever closer to the back of that XR.
But it looks like the situation mirrors what happens between Botev and Mackie Heumler. There are these mistakes where suddenly both cars are packing up again, but after a few corners they are stretched out again out of the attack zone, to be honest. We see this for P3 with Botev and Mackie Heumler. We see this for P7 with Picanco and Santos.
I get the feeling there's very varying different wing levels in this race so far on the XR. It seems as though some people have gone for more of a top speed setup and some people have gone for higher wings to be quicker in the twisty sections. So I think that's partially what's actually happening here. And of course, well, the dirty air doesn't help either in this section that we're now in at the end of Sector 1, beginning of Sector 2 through the sweeps. Right, left, right again before plunging into this interesting turn number 9.
We're seeing a battle now starting up for position 12. Jürgen Weber in the faster of the 2 FXRs.
There's a crash in turn number 9.
Botev.
There's a lot of damage on that car. I think he'll have to come into the pit. See, I just saw at the corner of my eye, he just touched the grass and went spiraling out of control. So that was the man who was running in 3rd position. That's good news for Yannick Attia.
But to be honest, the damage is not too big on the suspension side, but the bodywork doesn't seem fresh. So Mackie Heumler is now losing his arch rival for E3, which also gives a clear sight for Yannick Attia to the 3rd position. As we see a battle for 5th position, Nico Pontola has to defend from the Road Appraiser car.
Yeah, Nico's pace has dropped off in the last few laps, so now instead of being right at the front, he's now under pressure from Picanco, who sweeps by easily enough before turn number 1 even. Pantola's still there. Will he think about going down the inside? No, he does not. So Picanco up to 5th all of a sudden.
And Santos has a run, so Santos is now in the slow...
Touching.
Whoa. Bump drafting through a corner is only appropriate once the corner is banked.
Pantola still on the inside. Will he brake later? You see, that's all massive lock-up for Pantola. Oh, that tyre is not going to last the whole race, I can guarantee it. So Pantola, I think, will definitely have to pit now at some point during this race. I cannot see that front right tyre lasting after that lock-up. And this is going to be evil up here for him. He's going to have so much understeer with the red-hot tyre. He's held on to it. Can Santos get a run into that corner where Botev crashed on the previous lap? Santos has a good run. He switched to the left-hand side to go around the outside. This would be brave. He's not that far ahead into the corner. Pantola holds it well, but he's still going around the outside. Santos touches the grass, and he holds it. Unbelievable. Everybody else who's touched that grass has gone around, but Santos holds it, and he's going to have the inside line for turn number 10. Pantola goes around the outside, though. Pantola braves it out round the outside. Santos surely now has the opportunity to get him on this straight. Pantola's tyres look evil after that lock-up, though. He is really struggling with his brilliant wheel. Santos has a good run now through the oval section coming toward Boothy. He goes for the inside line into Boothy. I think this is going to be game over from Pantola. Santos should have a good enough run to get the position. But Pantola again, massively later on the brakes than Santos, but Santos gets the job done. He had the high ground. Santos up to 6th position. What a battle that was. Pantola's not finished yet. Santos has to defend now from Pantola, who may go down the inside. No, Santos defends. Pantola around the outside. That's going to be a bit of a problem, but he'll go for the switchback, which works. Pantola's up the inside. Nico Pantola hits the curb and hits into Santos, but it's only Pantola who runs wide. Santos now has the position. Pantola tried to go across the curb, got it a little bit wrong, and touched Santos, and Santos claims the 6th position finally, and now Pantola has to defend again, his 7th position now.
Yes, as Ricardo's Petrovicius is closing the gap down to 0.3 of a second. That was very unfortunate, hitting the curb in the exactly wrong angle.
Yes.
As Nico
the strange curb with a hole in it that for some reason somebody put into the first speed.
Nico's tires are smoking a lot during braking.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to finish the race on those tires. I think it might be possible before, but no, definitely not now.
So on lap 14 of 32, Joe Holmes leads the race in front of Leitnieks. Then it's Mackie Hermler on 3rd position. Joni Katia currently in 4th position. He would clinch the title if he stays in that position. Pedro Picanco in 5th. Pedro Santos in 6th. Nico Pantola, as we've seen, in 7th. Ricardo's Petrovicius in 8th. Jed Mead in 9th position, and Ben Q in 10th position. After a huge gap, Victor Veloso is now up into 11th position in his heavily damaged XRR after a crash with his teammate in the first corner. 12th position, Jürgen Weber. He's followed by Patrick Hall, Michael Malek, Andre Arayu, Jeremiah Zanella, Resh LeBlanc, Kaiki Piroppo, Frankie Cinchetti, Stephen Martin, Daniel Balla, Borislav Botev, after his troubles, down in 22nd position, already done a pit stop. Sean Lee in 23rd position, also with 1 pit stop in his books. Jacob Jeffin in 24th. And Magic in 25th position.
Kaiki Piroppo is making his comeback, having had to pit earlier on. He is on the back of LeBlanc in the angry, what's the word, Thilo? Angus Racing, not Angus. XRR car. And he is desperately trying to get back to the position he feels as though he should be in. Unfortunate incident earlier on meant he damaged his car and had to come into the pit lane. And he's now on the comeback trail. Interestingly, he didn't change his tyres, so I think that's pretty much confirms that he is not going to be pitting. He has the run on the back of LeBlanc as he swings to the left-hand side, looking for a gap all the time. We're going into that corner again with 2 cars battling. I don't think he's quite got the run on LeBlanc. LeBlanc holds a 17th position for just now, but it seems as though Piroppo has the pace advantage. Can he hold in the draft or behind LeBlanc? He's got a great run. He's got a great run out of there as Kaiki Piroppo. Can he think about a move into the spoon curve? We saw what happened previously with Pantola into here, going around the outside. Piroppo's up the inside, hits the curb. LeBlanc gives him plenty of room. LeBlanc's looking for the exit. Propo sweeps past on the inside line. LeBlanc loses out, but I think he's got the speed advantage on the straight line if he can just get into the draft of Propo, which he does through the oval section. LeBlanc thinking about how he's going to tackle the Boothy chicane. Will he have a dive up the inside of Propo? I think he's slightly too far behind. I think he's thinking better of it. Maybe it's better just to let Propo go. I think he has the pace advantage at this point. Ooh, LeBlanc very late on the brakes there, just managing to get the car slowed down. Propo has sealed 17th position.
Switching from one angry.
Ah!
Yeah.
Oh,
Angry Angus car to another. Jared Mead is on the bumper of Ricardo's Petrovicius. At least he was until braking for turn 1. But I think he's positioning himself to start an attack in the next possible braking zone. Ooh. Sliding a bit over all 4 tires into the S's. At least clean air through that corner, although Jared went off the throttle quite significantly, so Ricardo's Petrovicius with some breathing air, it seems.
Yes, he's fairly fallen back from the battle on this lap over 8th position. Just couldn't hold it up the hill in the draft. Oh, Picanco slides at the chicane. He manages to hold on to it. I thought for a minute he was going around when I saw that. But he has held on and he remains in 5th position for just now. He is the best Pedro at the moment, having held off Pedro Santos, who's dropped back a little bit since we were last watching them. But Joe Holmes crosses the line, another fastest lap from him, our race leader, 2 minutes 21.85. That brings up the halfway mark. And no safety cars. It's all going plainly so far for Joe Holmes as we have 16 laps to go.
Jeremiah Zanella crashed in the Boothy chicane, it seems. He's got some left side damage, probably going to the pit lane now. This is nothing you want to nurse around the track for another half race distance. He's not pitting, instead Reg LeBlanc is pitting. So Angry Angus Racing pitting at the halfway mark exactly.
Yes, as we say, we're past the halfway point of this race. Joe Holmes has led from the start, and he has a commanding lead at the moment in his XR first racing car. The rest of the battles have been very, very interesting, especially into that corner, turn number 9. We have seen a few incidents so far today, and we still keep on finding battles throughout this track.
Yeah, but currently it seems as if the racing has calmed down a bit. Although the cars are still running close to each other, they are just outside striking zone. So let's see when this is tipping over again. But not only has Joe Holmes a good gap to the next car behind him, he's leading by 7.95 seconds. He also has some good gaps to the next cars in front of him, which were to be lapped. So another couple of laps until he has to commit to pass some other cars, it seems. So clean hot lapping conditions for him. On board with our race leader Joe Holmes into that corner, just slightly braking there, hitting the apex at 211. Slowest point of the corner, 205. Now into the long spoon corner. And now wide open onto the oval.
Just noticed that there's some interesting skid marks at the inside of the oval. Somebody has had an incident somewhere there. We do actually have a battle on track between Paroppo and Malik.
And Mike Malik
continuing. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, Mike Malik in the back car ahead, racing for Team Rock Racing in this championship. With Kaiki Piroppo for Energy Virtual Racing in the blue and red car for that corner. Scary situation.
Thought he was going to go for it for a second. Piroppo now under threat, having got all the way back up. That's just what happens in that corner. You lose speed and you lose front downforce, and you have to fight to stay on the track. And then immediately you're under pressure again from behind. So Piroppo looking to regain 14th position as quick as he possibly can. He does seem to have the faster car out of this gaggle at the moment.
He was to the pit lane due to his damage, so he has to regain the positions.
Speaking of pitting, Mead is in the pit lane.
Great run out of the chicane and now to the side of Michael Malik. The Brazilian making P14 now.
Locked up though, he's going to go wide. Malik, if he remains calm through here, should get the run, but no, Piroppo I think has actually pulled that one off. I don't think Malik's quite close enough to get the draft from the back of Piroppo's car down the pit straight, so Piroppo up to 14th position. In fact, make that 13th because Mead is in the pits.
So the other Angry Angus car. Just a couple of laps after his teammate to the pit lane. Rejoining the track in 17th position, right in front of Jeremiah Zanella. We're on board in the blue XRR of Zanella. As he looks around the outside, his tires are in optimal temperature. But it looks like Jared Mead can keep his car ahead for now as Stephen Martin is approaching this battle. Oh, Jared with a compromised. Zanella runs perfectly wide.
Right around the outside, I believe we call that. That was a beautiful move by Zanella to get past Mead. Martin now will hope he can do the same. Mead, of course, is having come out of the pits, trying to get his tyres up to temperature. This battle, drive-through penalty for car number 18, which is Zanella, for an unsafe rejoin. That's something I don't think we saw on stream. Was that in the chicane? It must have been the incident we saw right at the back, the tail end one that you saw, Thilo, right at the end.
Maybe. Oh, and now he runs across the Boothy chicane.
We should probably mention why we call it the Boothy chicane. The Boothy chicane is named after its founder, the great Michael Booth, who sadly is no longer a part of our team and is much missed by everybody. Zanella and Martin peel into the pit lane. About a decade ago, we were that chicane in its natural habitat. It's not a particularly rewarding experience. You can effectively take it flat, which is a bit strange. So the organisers of Masters of Endurance decided to create a layout that involved an actual proper chicane being put in. And the design that was chosen was the Michael Booth chicane. So forevermore, it'll be called the Boothy chicane. And I believe Live for Speed may be putting that into, or calling it that, when they actually do update the track and actually put the chicane properly in to the game. We have a little tribute for our dearly missed colleague Michael Booth. It says, "Thank you, Boothy." I don't know if Pete has put it on broadcast at any point today. Have you? Plenty of times, apparently. So that, yeah. So you've seen it. It says, "Thank you, Boothy." And, yeah. There we go. The legend that is Michael Booth with the softly spoken Scottish accent, as I'm sure everybody will remember out there who heard him on various different broadcasts or just heard him in the New Dimension Racing team speak.
Yeah, one may not forget that he also helped in updating the tracker back at the time. So the core of the tracking software dates back to eons ago when Volatile was programming it, and Michael Booth actually updated that as well. As we've got a battle for 15th position with Frankie Cinchetti going to the inside into the Boothy chicane of the all-white Arojo. Yep. Around he goes, 20th lap, 15th position for the Team Rock Racing driver. Oh, accident into the Boothy chicane. Oh, braking for the Boothy chicane. Jeremiah Zanella lost the car.
How did he? I would love to see a replay of that. I'm confused as to how that incident happened.
Yeah, he actually lost the car way before the actual braking zone, it seemed. He's now getting around the track. He couldn't repair damage the last time around because he had to serve the drive-through penalty, but he decides to stay out with the damage he has and continue on racing.
So at this point, we will soon know who is planning to make a pit stop and who is not. Joe Holmes comfortably leading at the moment. Will he be making a pit stop? I'm not so sure he will, but if he does, it will be in the next 5 laps or so, I'd imagine. His tyres look to be in good shape at the moment on the server. As I said before, I think Yoni Katia will go without pitting, so it'll be interesting to see if Joe, given his pace, is going to come in the pit or not.
We're on board with Picanco. As we see the core racing car of Santos. They two are getting closer, it seems. So the best lap of Santos a 2:22.12, the best lap of Picanco a 2:22.59. So now the run into the S's. Slightly nicer line also by the core driver. But the gap stays about the same, so no attack into that corner. As Jürgen Weber and Daniel Baller are to the pits to make their pit stop. On board with Santos. Oh, climbing the curb there doesn't help your lap time.
Oh, it's about the only place you could roll a car in this track as well, which could obviously cause a safety car, which I don't think anybody wants at the moment, with 10 laps to go.
I hope it's not like with the Boogeyman that if you call safety car too often, it will suddenly appear.
The classic commentator's curse, I believe, may apply if suddenly somebody does roll in a different location and we get a beautiful safety car. We get to look to see Stuart Baker, no doubt, sat at his home with a beer. I'm sure he didn't want to have to come out in this race either. So let's hope for no safety cars.
And for the first time this race, we see a fastest lap by someone other than Joe Holmes. Matthias Mackie Hormiller with a 2:21.72 on lap 22.
So I've just seen a very curious incident of chicane. It was almost the proper was in the air. I can't work out what happened there. That was very strange. I only saw it from a different camera angle, but it was as though he hit something and went skyward for a minute. That was strange. Possibly lag, as Pete says in my ear, but they're very odd.
Nico was in the pit lane, 16.29 seconds for refuel and all tires, as he gets overtaken by his fellow FZR driver Kaiki Piroppo.
This will be interesting to see how quick Nico is on new tires with and only with 10 laps of fuel on his car. I had a funny feeling that FZRs might decide to pit rather than trying to risk it and stretch out, because the front tires wear considerably with their softer compound, and they do take a fair amount of punishment through the S's and turn number 10, especially if you've been in dirty air. So I wonder if we will see any FZR not pitting. Let's wait and see. I'm pretty convinced that Katia will plan to go to the end. I'm still not sure about Joe Holmes. I think he will, and I think he does have enough of an advantage now that he can just start to cruise and look after his tyres. But we've said that before at West Hill.
There are already some speculations about how many punctures we're going to see at the end of this race. As we have the battle for P15 heating up again, Jared Mead now in the slipstream of Andrea Rayu into that corner, but due to the aero loss, he compromised his line through that corner and is now a couple of tenths back again. Pedro Santos to the pits. Pitting from P6 after the battle of the Pedros for P5. As Nico Pontola got past Kaiki Piroppo again into 10th position, so he got his tires working quickly again. We're on board with Pontola as Kaiki Piroppo dives out of the slipstream. Coming down to turn 1. He's passing the Finn man before the braking zone. So the Brazilian back in 10th.
You make Nico sound like a fish.
Oh, and Jared Mead got around Andre Arayu. I just caught the end of it where Arayu was completely sideways through the first corner. Not sure what have happened there. Probably a battle into the braking zone and someone misjudged the situation. Oh, he's off again. Oh, and his tires are thin. Oh, he retires. Not sure what is the reason for that.
I think that move has earned him the Jonathan Palmer seal of disapproval for spectating on the track. As Joe Holmes reclaims his fastest lap, you'll see that going purple. 2 minutes 21.59. Holmes, literally, I've been watching him a little bit, and he's just in a nice, smooth. Oh no! Then immediately, commentators curse as Mackie Holland takes it back with 2:21.52. This is the point where we're beginning, as you say, Thilo and Pete, to look at whether we're getting any punctures or not. The tyres are cooling down. This is when the tyres are most susceptible to punctures around about this time. We have been going for over an hour at the moment, so let's see. This is when, if we're going to get punctures, it's going to start happening. Holmes seems okay with his front left. That seems to be his danger point at the moment, danger tyre. But yeah, this is when it starts to get sketchy.
Frankie Cinchetti now in the slipstream of Michael Malek, entering the start and finish straight for P13. He should be in a good position for the braking zone. The Team Rock Racing teammates in this championship side by side. And Cinchetti advances into 13th position.
Yes, of course. I think he pitted early, didn't he, as well, Frankie? I think he had damage, so he's been on a bit of a comeback trail, a little bit like Kaiki Purple has been as well.
No, Frankie did not have. Well, he did have damage, but he did not pit. He was one of the victims in the early stages of the race.
Yes, of course. How can I forget?
Oh, Petrovicius and Picanco, sorry, fighting for P5. Petrovicius currently in front of the Brazilian, but the number 17 driver wants to reclaim his position. Into Boothy chicane. This does not work out yet, but both lines are compromised quite substantially, so Petrovicius...
Holmes picks.
There goes the zero-stop strategy.
Yeah, so that's interesting then. I know he's listening to the broadcast, so he's probably sitting there saying that we're idiots, and he will definitely be pitting and laughing to himself. But there we go, he has pitted Joe Holmes. So where does he rejoin?
Puncture car 18. Puncture Kaiki Piroppo.
Holmes looks
front
to
left.
Just get out in 4th position, sorry.
Oh, big damage also to the left side, so probably the puncture before that corner and then hitting the outside retaining wall.
Yeah, I think he's definitely been off at that corner. Yeah, 100%. I think the puncture has been caused by the damage. We did see him locking up quite heavily earlier as well, didn't we? So yeah, that's bad news for Kaiki Propo. He's going to have to go into the pits again, and
Joe Holmes rejoined the track in 4th position. He's now under pressure from Ricardas Petrovicius. Currently with his fresh rubber, trying to get this into his temperature range. Frank Sinchetti and Kaiki Piroppo pitting now. Also, second pit stop for Kaiki Piroppo.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Of course, Piroppo didn't change tyres when he came into the pits earlier, so that's an unfortunate incident that's happened for him there. Holmes has extended his gap now, so he's out of range of being in trouble for the battle for fourth position. So this is very interesting. So Maki Holmwala now has... sorry, not Maki Holmwala, who's leading?
Right next, but Maki Holmwala is approaching him. As we've seen, Maki Holmwala was contesting the fastest laps with Joe Holmes.
Yes,
Both
it's very
drivers
interesting to see what they can go to the end though. Their tyres don't look in any worse condition than Joe's were in, so I wonder if they're going to brave it out.
We're definitely at a point where you'd think, okay, it's point of no return, go for it.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose. The only person who's got something to lose at the moment is the man in third position, Joni Katia, on course for a Live for Speed Championship in the GT2 Challenge by New Dimension Racing if he can maintain that position.
Oh, Zanella rejoining the track right in front of our champion. Oh, Katia!
Well, that was a heart-stopping moment, wasn't it? I think the beautiful face on the side of his skin was acting like a guiding angel.
Battle for 12th position. Michael Malak defending against Angry Angus Racing. Oh, contact through the chicane, and Jared Mead keeps the car mostly on the black stuff.
Skinner! Anyway, Angry Angus Racing there, Mead taking the position.
I wonder what Agnes will say after the race.
I'm sure she'd be delighted with the 12th position. Maki Homla is on a charge for the lead of this race.
Lightning's punctured front light left.
Ah! So Maki Homla takes the lead now. Are his tyres going to last 5 more laps to the line?
Good question.
Maki Homla's still doing 21.74s. 5 laps remaining in the GT2 Challenge Championship for 2020. Maki Homla has the lead. Johnny Katia now in second position and on course for the championship. He will be hoping and praying that no incidents happen between him and backmarkers again and no punctures befall him in the final 5 laps. I'm not sure if Maki Homla's tyres will last. I'm just looking at them and I'm not convinced, but we'll see over the course of this lap. That front left is very, very worn indeed, and that's the tyre that will puncture if a tyre is going to go at this stage of the race.
So Lightniak's rejoins the race in 6th position. Well, one has to question if it would be wiser for Yoni to simply pit, be on the safe side, finishing the race somewhere in the top 10 and clinching the championship that way. As Maki Heimler is going through the spoon corner. Oh, his front left tire is spectacularly thin.
I'm really struggling to see this tyre last, to be honest. I really think he has to pit because the load that's going into that tyre and the relative thinness compared to the remainder of the tyres, that is the tyre that gets worked the hardest around this track, and that's why we're seeing so many punctures. And it just feels as though that he just doesn't have enough tread. But we'll see. Will he risk it? Will he try and claim the glory? Carries on another lap. There'll be 4 to go at the line for GT2 Challenge 2020. Again, for the 4th race in a row, we're looking at strategy deciding this race and whether anybody's going to run out of tyres toward the end. Maki Homela's pace is superb still, despite the wornness. If we look at Maki Homela versus Katia, Katia has far more tread and far more heat in his tyre. So this could be a very, very shrewd call by Yoni Katia. He is not catching it all, but he doesn't need to. He just needs to finish in that runner-up position. And Maki Homela comes down into the first big braking zone on this track with 4 to go.
You say he's not catching, but they both do 21s, to be precise, 21.8s. So they are on the same pace.
Whatever happens in this remaining 4 laps, somebody other than Isaac Price is definitely going to win a race in this 4-race championship. Maki Homela is through that corner with his front left looking incredibly worn as he gets a bit more heat into them. Here's where people have been getting punctures. Through turn number 10, there's another car with a puncture in sector 2 according to the admins. Who is that?
That's Petrovicius. Petrovicius, 4th position. Front left, quite early on in the lap, he's through that corner, and Pedro Picanco has to brake quite massively.
Good avoiding. So Maki Homela is into the final couple of corners. You are on board with the race leader. Will his tyres last this final 3 laps? They look so thin. Again, he doesn't pit. He's not going to pit. He's going to go to the end now. That is his commitment. He is going for the glory. Guts versus glory. And this is a brave choice. We've seen so many punctures over the last few laps. Maki Homela leads. Joe Holmes led for the majority of this race again, but had to make a pit stop toward the end of this race. Puncture! Maki Homela's gone. Maki Homela's in the wall. He has a puncture. The front left is gone with 3 to go, and he's gone in turn number 1. It's a disaster. He's hit the wall. Massive damage. Yoni Katia leads this race now. About to anyway. He's coming up to Maki Homela. He will overtake and take the lead of this race. The first time the potential champion will have led this race. There he goes down past Maki Homela for the lead. Yoni Katia leads. Now, what about his tyres? Will they last?
Ooh. Sliding over all 4 tyres into turn 4 is not really the perfect way to start nursing the tyres home. Maki Homela having trouble bringing the car around the circuit.
Do you pit if you're Yoni Katia at this moment? This is the Kimi Raikkonen question again from the 2005 European Grand Prix. Do you pit? Do you risk it? At the moment, it seems as though his tyres are okay though. He has done over 32 laps in a stint, so it'll just be down to what the traffic was like for him early in the race. Once again, we are seeing the tortoise beating the hares, and this has been a constant theme throughout this championship.
One must test also that his gap to Holmes is big enough, so no matter how slow he has to go to nurse the car home, he's got the time.
Makiyama having a horrible time trying to get this car back to the pits. He's going to manage it, but there's a massive amount of damage. Joe Holmes is coming to take second position away from him. An unfortunate end to Makiyama's race. He's driven a good one. Joe has obviously driven a good one. Oh no, they're still side by side. No. It's going to contact. Oh dear. Contact there between Makiyama and Holmes. Makiyama couldn't slow the car down. Holmes gets away with it with a slight slide. Makiyama will make it back to the pits now. Wonder where he's going to come out. This is not good news for him, and what was a promising and speedy race is now, it's all fallen apart, unfortunately, in the last few laps.
Puncture Pedro Picanco. 5th position. He doesn't notice it. He doesn't notice his puncture.
Did it just happen in the final corner? Oh dear. Well, that's going to be a nasty moment when he gets into turn number 1. Surely he's noticed by now, but he hasn't backed off anything, Thilo.
No, he hasn't.
Well, good luck. Now he's noticed, so he doesn't hit the wall. That's very unfortunate. It must just have gone as he hit that curb with the sort of dip. Possibly. Pete, did you see that on stream, Pete, or was that a whisper? Oh, Pete Beecher points out that he has possibly done this on purpose because we only are 2 laps away. He is still able to run at a decent pace, and he is reasonably far ahead of 5th position. Don't think he's quite going to hold on to 4th, but yeah, that might be the case.
Mikey Heimler and Petrovicius now side by side. Battle for P8.
Mikey almost sends it down the inside. That's an interesting, good bit of braking there. So,
Katia's tires actually look similar to how Mackie Hermler's tires look right before the puncture. I'm afraid.
We are going on to the final lap. Oh, doesn't pit, so Katia is going for it. This is the final lap from the line of the GT2 Challenge of 2020. Yoni Katia is set to win the race and the championship. The white flag is out. He has backed off the pace considerably. He is just trying to master these tyres to the finish. Here is where Mackie Humler's tyre went a few laps ago. Katia is round turn number 1 with no punctures. He is okay at the moment. Is it going to be his day? Down toward turn number 4.
When you said he's going slower, he was about 2 seconds off his previous lap times. And he has got 21 seconds as car number 10 has a puncture. So that's Victor Veloso.
That's unfortunate. He was in 6th position, Veloso, so he has a good run. Katia comes into that corner. Is this going to be his championship, his day with destiny? He has been run on the podium all the races this season. Isaac Price has won them all until now, but Katia has been a constant thorn in his side as he comes through turn number 10, the spoon corner, out onto the oval section. And it looks as though now Yoni Katia has the race and the championship in the bag, because there should be no real position here where he cannot, even if he gets a puncture now, he should have enough of a gap over Joe Holmes to hold on as he comes toward the fabled Boothy chicane for the final time. Katia breaks down, eases down into the chicane now, clips the concrete on the inside, flashes over the curve on the outside. Katia has the final section to go. The smooth hairpin away from the championship in GT2 Challenge for 2020. Katia second in round 1, second in round 2, third at Baston North in the final round. But today is the day again. The Tortoise beats the Hare in GT2 Challenge, and today is the day that Yoni Katia picks up the win and the championship for 2020. Round the final corner, Katia wins at Kyoto Grand Prix long Boothy style and changed the championship as well. A brilliant season, a brilliant champion. Congratulations to Yoni Katia.
As Joe Holmes comes around the final corner, finally a race that went his way, finishing now in second position.
That is unfortunate though for Joe. He had the quickest pace, but he couldn't make his tires last the whole race. Katia, I mean, the fact that he knew he could do it. I'd seen him do it, and he made it work for him. Brilliant job for Yoni.
Third place goes to Leibniz for Core Racing. And another core car in fourth position, Pedro Santos. So again, as I mentioned earlier, a strong team showing by Core Racing here. Nico Pontola finishing the race, honking, flashing the lights, fifth position. Also for
Sidewinder
him,
done good.
Also for him, one race he did good. Pedro Picanco, with his flat front left tire, still finishing sixth position.
And Ben Keogh, where did he come from?
Ben Keogh,
Ben gets seventh. The old man of sim racing produces again a seventh position for Ben Keogh in that beautiful skin. Well done, Ben.
So 3 Core Racing cars in the top 7.
Mackie Home lines up eighth, just ahead of Jared Mead. And Patrick Hall in the orange green racing green skin finishes 10th to round out the top 10 on another interesting day in GT2 Challenge. I'm going to miss this series for the next few months until it returns. It's certainly provided entertainment throughout all of these races.
Borislav Bota finishes the season with an 11th place in front of Ricardo's Petrovicius for Last Bet Motorsports. Michael Malek for Team Rock Racing. Victor Veloso for Energy Virtual Racing. Sean Lee for Newsroom Aerotech. 16th position, the best FXR for Jürgen Weber, Heroes of Racing. Then behind him, Frank Cinchetti for Team Rock Racing, Daniel Balla for Race Green Autosports, Stephen Martin for SM Racing, and Kaiki Piroppo for Energy Virtual Racing in 20th position. Reg LeBlanc in 21st in front of Jeremiah Zanella, and Majic in 23rd and last position for Race Green Autosports.
As our podium come to the line and Katia starts to do donuts to celebrate his championship win. The tortoise and the hare, it really has been that kind of season. We've seen drivers going off into the distance, being unable to make their tyres last in this sort of slightly unusual format of racing. And often enough, it's been a chase to the finish. There's been no race that has had a simple drive to the line. It's all been very, very well. It's been fascinating. Will the tyres last? Who will pit? Who won't? It's been an interesting season.
Yes, it has been. And with Yoni Katia, definitely a deserved winner for this championship. Finishing all races on the podium, scoring 2 second places, 1 third, and now finally the win.
Yes, indeed. We'll hopefully get a word with him very, very soon on the broadcast, our champion, Yoni Katia.
And if I'm not completely mistaken, Joe Holmes and Matthias Mäki-Holmele should be promoted quite a few places up the championship. Maybe even overtaking Isaac Price, as there is a bonus point system in place for drivers which started all 4 races. Whoa, that's been something. I really must say it was a really enjoyable season from race 1 now to the season finale. As we are seeing our podium on the screen in the black and red car with Isaac's face on the sides. It's the World Class Lions car of Joni Katia. To his left, no, to his right, Joe Holmes in the first racing skin. And to his left, it's Leibniz in the core racing skin. And it looks like Joni Katia is about to join us.
Hi.
Welcome, Joni Katia. What a race. You made it as one of the only drivers without a pit stop. Were you as tense as we were during the last couple of corners?
Actually not. I was taking it really easy. Even more easy than in practice, so I was really sure that the tires would last. So, nothing scary.
Yes, congratulations, Johnny, on your championship and your race victory. A very interesting race again. I can't quite believe the amount of punctures we got at the end of the races. People tried to do the same as you, going to the end, but you were always quite confident in that strategy, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, just take it easy. I kept the temps on 101. I think they were only once, at least 101, so really slow driving, but fast.
Yeah, we've seen that throughout this season. That the person who goes off and leads the start of the race often has to make a pit stop, whereas there's somebody just taking it easy out there. And today it was you, waiting to pounce on any errors. So, congratulations again. And do you want to just sum up your season for us, for everybody on the broadcast? Because I think we'd like to hear from our champion about how he felt the season has gone.
Oh, it's been fun. There's been really tight races, especially the first 2 with me and Isaac. The third one was not so good for me, but yeah, it's been overall really fun. I hope there will be season 2 soon. But it was shame that Isaac and Lucas didn't drive today. But obviously Isaac has good reasons since doing Le Mans. I don't know, they're doing well right now, I think. Oh, haven't looked.
Bizarrely, Isaac still has the fastest Section 3 time, which seems a bit strange. Can I just also say I do not like your skin.
Come on!
Can
Respectful
I just?
to
Yeah, you know I'm very respectful to Isaac, obviously all the time. But somebody on the, who's watching out there has told Isaac that I said his face was beautiful on the stream. So whoever did that, that's not. They didn't tell about the insult, so it just makes it sound like I've said nice things about Isaac. But anyway.
Well, I had his spirit with me.
The guardian angel.
Yeah.
Joni Katia, thank you very much and congratulations again on your championship.
I also have one more question from the chat. It was asked how many laps did you train on average for each round?
Okay, to be honest, 1K laps for round 1, 1K laps for round 2, and about only 500 for round 3. Because I didn't really enjoy the Aston. But yeah, and for this last one, I did like 5 stints together.
At Aston, you were still up at 9 in the morning trying to do a qualifying run. I'm assuming you actually slept last night and not this morning.
Absolutely.
For this round.
But I still didn't really practice quali because I know it's not important since I'm doing a hero stop, so would have gotten past anyway, if pole or something.
I see that somebody called Mr. Bazdrop has said, "What has he done to my skin?" So I believe you have some explaining to do for putting Isaac's face on the skin.
Oh well, he uses my face, I use his face. That's how it goes.
Tit for tat.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations again, Yoni, and we will hopefully see you for season 2 in around about the autumn time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Yoni. Thilo, would you like to give us, everybody on the broadcast, a rundown of what is coming up for Sim Broadcast in the next few weeks?
Sure. On Tuesday, we will be live again with the TRR Championship. Round 24 with the NGTRs from Aston Grand Touring. That should be a fun combo. Streaming starts at 19 UTC. Then Sunday, 21st of June, the first round of the Open Endurance Cup starts, also in Aston and with the LRF and NGT classes at Aston Grand Prix reversed. Streaming starts at around 16:30 UTC. So these are our next broadcasts. If you like what you've seen, you can follow us on Twitch. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Ring the bell on YouTube. We are also on Twitter and on Facebook. And yeah, if you follow us there as well, you will be notified whenever we have news for you and when stream is up. And if you want to compete in the Team Rock Racing Championship or in the Open Endurance Cup, please check out the forums, as for both championships you can still sign up. So go to lfs.net/leagues. There you have the league schedules, and in the forum you've got the subsections with all the information necessary.
Okay, thank you very much, Thilo, for that. Just a few last things to say. Thank you very much, everybody who's watched the stream. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. And also thank you to the competitors and to the race stewards who have done a fantastic job. Thank you very much to Jack Eyre, who couldn't be here today, unfortunately, and also to the man whispering, or the two men whispering, Elmo and Pete, for keeping us on the straight and narrow this season. Thilo, would you like to just give your thoughts on this season again, just to wrap us up?
We've seen interesting racing with a bunch of different strategies, with tense final laps, depending on how well everyone could use up their tires or overuse their tires. It was a fantastic season, and the format really proved itself. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next season of the GT2 Challenge. And let's see what's up next for NDR.
Yes, thank you very much, Thilo, for your company during this season. It's now time to say goodbye to this series, but we will be back on simbroadcast.tv very, very soon. I've been Chris Ford. That's been Thilo Falkenberg. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you very, very soon for more Live for Speed action. Good night.